Today back my sycamore that I dug up from a garden a few years ago. And as you can see, in March last year, nothing was happening. The buds are not swelling yet. Luckily, a few weeks later in April, and we can see some change and it's time for a repot. But first I just have to dig this little tree that has volunteered itself. It's a tiny little birch. I can't actually remember what I did with this, so who knows if we'll ever see it again. Anyway, let's get this repotted. Oh, before I forget, here are the buds. They're massive now compared to when I showed you them a minute ago in March. They're literally about to open any day now, so it's the right time to repot. I'll just start with the usual scraping away the top layer of soil. I find doing this helps loosen it just in the pot enough to hopefully just let it pop out, which it does. This species is a very aggressive grower, and this pot is pretty much full. If it wasn't so vigorous, I could probably leave it for another year or so. I just need to get all the soil off and then you'll see how many roots there are. So after a lot of work to get all the soil out, I'm left this big mess. It's pretty impressive, but can you see the two root planes? It's such a mess, I think it's kind of hard to see. Also, can you see that this side of the trunk facing us has no roots? So that's pretty annoying. If I put my hands in like this, you can start to see the upper root plane and then anything below my hands. Well, maybe that shouldn't be there. But that is quite a lot of roots though. But of course I chopped it off. Here is the lower chunk that I removed. This tree is hardcore, it's not even going to notice that's missing. And now my root plane is a lot flatter, which should help this tree start to develop a nice flare over time, hopefully. I gave what roots were left a little trim and then just potted it back up in the same pot. You have to admit there's still a lot of roots on this tree even after removing a huge chunk. And I have no doubt it will fill this pot again over the next year. A few weeks later in May and it's fully in leaf and looking pretty good. In June I did that Japanese maple trick of removing the new shoots before they fully open and only leaving one set of leaves. I'm not following this technique exactly. It'd probably be a bit too late to do this on a Japanese maple, but on this it's fine. It is part of the Acer family, so it seems to be responding just as well to the technique, even if I'm leaving it a little too late. In general, it just has a lot more vigour than a Japanese maple, which is probably why I can get away with it. And if it does weaken things a little bit, that's probably a good thing. Might just take some vigour out of it. In July it's fine. You can see there's a lot of work to be done, but it's slowly getting there. Apparently I missed August, but never mind, here we are in September, where it has actually stopped growing. And if I bring you in close, I'm not sure if something has eaten this or what, but we'll have some pretty funky looking leaves. My guess is it was a caterpillar, but I'm not really sure. Anyway, in October the leaves are starting to drop. Unlike other acers, you don't really get a show, they just kind of turn brown and dry up and drop off. That's all part of the sycamore fun, I guess. Here we are in December, looking all bare again, all ready for winter. Still nothing happened in February, but I'm not going to prune it now. I think it's fine as it is. And I'll do that Japanese maple technique anyway when its leaves open. Here's a close-up of that big wound. It's healing pretty well. I would hollow it out, but I haven't got the tool to do it. I am going to remove that nub though. It's kind of long and pointless. And that's literally the only work it's going to get. And here we are now, still not much going on. Thanks for watching, see you next time.